Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here with us this morning. And welcome to all of you to the University of Texas at Austin. I'm President Bill Powers, and today it's my privilege to announce the creation of the Center for Sports Leadership and Innovation at the University of Texas at Austin. You'll hear from some of the people who are here with me today. I would like to introduce Chris Polonsky, our Director of Women's Athletics, and Karen Aston, our Women's Head Basketball Coach. Thank you both for being here today with us. Nelson Mandela once said that sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language that they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. As a society, we should be doing everything we can to leverage the enormous popularity of athletics to develop leaders and leadership and to cultivate integrity. We've long known that sports can teach critical values like teamwork and discipline. I'm excited to explore new ways to use the inherent power of sports for the force of good. By blending two areas in which UT has long been strong, athletics and leadership training, we're creating an important nexus for studying training, doing research, and developing the life skills of our student athletes. We already have a very strong program within the UT system of athletics. This center will build on that good work. I look forward to seeing how this center will work hand in hand with that great program in athletics, but also work across the campus to pursue these goals. We'll use this center to further leverage our existing strength in the area of sports and leadership. Strengths built in recent years by the establishment of our sports media program and the Stark Center for Physical Culture and Sports here on the campus, as well as our strong cultural emphasis in integrity, which was exemplified by Coach Strong's much discussed core values. This new center will be directed by Darren Roberts. Darren's a dynamic leader who served as president of our student government while he was a Longhorn student. He studied law and public policy at Harvard. And then he went on to be an assistant coach and have a career in assistant coaching at another university and for 3 different teams in the National Football League. He teaches here in our Plan 2 program, our honors college. He's also been named an outstanding Texas Ex. I also want to thank Jamika Crawford, who's here with us today. Jamika, will you raise your hand? From the National Domestic Violence Hotline, who we'll be working with in this project. Jamika, welcome to the campus and welcome to this great project. So Darren, it's a great pleasure to welcome you back to the 40 acres, to welcome you home, and now I'd like you to come forward and talk a little bit more about the details of the center.
Thank you, President Powers. It is an honor for me to serve as the inaugural director of the Center for Sports, Leadership, and Innovation. The creation of this center marks a significant commitment by the university and President Powers to leverage our stature as a premier research and sports institution and enhance the character development of young student athletes. This center enables our university to highlight the extraordinary work of our UT athletics programs in molding students into responsible citizens and to deploy the best of these programs to high schools across the country. When Commissioner Goodell sat down with Coach Strong in September, I attended that meeting, and I listened as the head coach of the football team of my alma mater institution articulated his core values. He stressed the unique influence that coaches have over their players. Coach Strong's belief in the transformative power of sports and institutions of higher education underpins the objectives of this center. First, we will offer annual leadership and ethical training to high school coaches. Each year, we will unite the leading scholars from across the country, and these leaders will guide coaches on the most effective detection and intervention methods for drug and alcohol abuse, domestic and sexual assault, concussion awareness, and sound decision-making. The certification will involve opportunities for continuing education after completion of the program. And as President Powers stated, we are pleased to announce a partnership with the National Domestic Violence Hotline on this initiative. Second, in conjunction with UT Athletics, we are crafting a course on financial literacy and sound decision-making that will be offered to the entire student body, but will include student athletes as well. As the national discussion on increasing aid to athletes continues, Texas will take a proactive step in equipping our young people with the sound financial instruction that they need to propel them for success after they leave the 40 acres. We are thankful for the support of Steve Patterson, Chris Blonsky, and Randa Ryan on this initiative. And finally, we will serve as the epicenter for research in the areas of sports leadership, character reform, and health awareness. I made the decision to embark on a coaching career because I recognize the influence that coaches have over the young women and men that they lead. While coaching for the past 7 years in the NFL and college and high school, I watched coaches elevate the life trajectories of their players. Our university will play a leading role in supporting that transformative experience, and we will empower coaches to continue to cultivate student athletes of the first class. It is my pleasure at this time to introduce Dean Rod Hart of the Moody College of Communications.
Thank you, Darren, and my purpose today is to welcome Darren and his initiative to the campus. Universities are oftentimes, there's a divide between the sports enterprise and the academic enterprise. And I think what UT has done, particularly in recent years, is to try to bridge that gap and to do so in kind of meaningful ways. The Stark Center is a good example of that. Jan and Terry Todd have put together extraordinary historical archives and now doing public exhibits. About 5 years ago, our college began the Texas program in sports and media that is headed by Mike Kramer. And the purpose of that was to build more curriculum in the area between sports and communication, sports journalism, sports and entertainment, the business of sports and media. One of the things that Mike Kramer has told me is that if you go and look at the books of any NFL enterprise, you can't really understand much of it unless you know that about 90% of it has to do with media, that professional sports teams are about producing messages for people. And that, of course, puts great pressure on the athletes that are part of it, as well as administration. The Texas program has the annual Frank DeFord lecture, the Harry Edwards lecture, which particularly is interested in the relationship between sports and media and culture, in this particular case, race. The Ann Richards Chair is interested in that relationship with gender. And so I think this is a campus that is very welcoming to the kind of initiative that Darren has started. He will have allies across the campus, and our college, and I know the rest of the university is going to be looking out for ways in which we can help. One of the things that Darren is doing is in addition to things that we're doing, is creating an outreach function for the university in the area of sports and human integrity. And that is particularly important, and I believe that is going to make for some terrific relationships across the state and indeed across the nation. So I welcome Darren and his initiative. My pleasure to present to you Steve Patterson, Men's Athletic Director.
Thanks, Rod. And thanks to all of you for coming out today. We're happy to help partner with the Institute for Sports Leadership and Innovation here at the university. We think it's can really build on the last quarter century of great work that Rand Orion and Chris and DeLoss and all our coaches led by Karen and others here have exemplified for so many years. UT really is a leader in terms of what we do to support our student athletes, be it sports medicine, athletic performance, nutrition, leadership, academics, what have you. And so we look at the great success we've had this past year with our leading 3.1 GPA, highest the school's ever had. We look forward to working with Darren on this effort to try to take some of the types of learnings that we've had with our student athletes, carry them to the rest of the campus, carry them to high school coaches and others so that people can truly compete with great integrity and show once again that what starts here changes the world. So thanks for coming out today.
Well, thank you, Darren and Rod and Steve. Let me again thank all of you for being here today as we make this important announcement. Let me again say how delighted we are, Tamika, with the partnership with the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and we look forward to working together. I do think this is a very important step the university is taking forward to address what is a very important societal, not just sports, but societal set of issues. So thank you, and we would be happy to take some questions from the press.
President Powers, how does this mesh with a day in the life of a student athlete? It seems like there's so much pressure on the student athlete right now, performing on the field, performing in the classroom. There's already mentoring programs that are taking place within the athletic department. Now we have this. How does a student athlete juggle all of this extra stuff?
Well, there are a number of time pressures and other pressures on student athletes. They're in the fishbowl very often. We hope this will help in that. It will be very coordinated with the other kinds of programs that they're going through. I think that's why it's so important that this is integrated with what is happening in athletics, but connecting it to the campus as well. So we think this will help. We certainly will monitor. The last thing we want to do is put time pressures on athletes that exacerbate the problem. But these are very important issues in developing student athletes as people who are ready, young men and women who are ready for the world. And so we think this will be a big plus in that direction.
How was this idea born? And obviously we've had the events here in the last year or so, but where did the idea come from? Is this modeled after anything else in the country?
Well, we have programs in athletics, and we've worked over a long period of time to integrate student athletes into the academic and social campus experience. We are fortunate that Darren is here with us. As I said, teaches in our Plan 2 program. We've been talking about this over a period of time. This has been in there's a lot of attention around the country. And we looked at ourselves, and Darren looked at the university and said, why not UT, which has great success in athletics, but has a history of integrity and developing the emotional health, the physical health, the academic success of our athletes, and let's take this to the next level. And also to have a positive contribution as an outreach program, so we're an asset to high school coaches, other universities, and we look forward to working with them as well.
The timing
Yes.
is maybe not so great with the 2 grand jury indictments that came out today from the former football players. I know you're talking about incorporating the domestic violence hotline. How critical is that moving forward to, I guess, maybe teaching something that maybe should have started at home, but in some cases hasn't?
Well, a lot of these issues, including academic success and financial literacy, is preparing people as human beings to go out and live in the world. And that's going to be true across our student body generally. We want to make sure that we're taking care of students while they're here, and we're preparing them for the world. The fact that it's been in the news, has focused our attention on, but we want to do something positive about that rather than just disciplinary action when it goes wrong.
And speaking of that, I mean, with so much violence against women being, not just here, but across the country, how can a university come in and have a meaningful impact on maybe what are deep-rooted inadequacies that may exist in some students, in some young people, athletes or not?
Well, that's true of all of our students. We take them after usually 18 years, sometimes older students, of academic development, character development. But it's our obligation to do on our campus while they're here to add value to their lives. So yes, these are things that ought to start in the playground in the third grade, but we can't use that as a reason to say, well, there's not much we can do. There's a lot we can do to help our student athletes and help all of our students on preparing themselves for life.
President Garza talked about the NCAA regulations might be changing in a couple of years, and getting ahead, helping these kids with their finances. Can you talk about that, and hope that might set these guys up for the future?
Well, part of it is we have a very, some of, not a large percentage of our student athletes actually go on to careers in athletics. But all of our students go on to careers in life. And so credit card debt, managing their finances when they're away from home for the first time. And that's not just student athletes, that's all of our students. And I hope these will lead into some things we can do for all of our students. Just managing loans and credit card debt and making smart choices on how they manage their finances, but also the other decisions they make in their lives, I think will be very, very helpful.
More than maybe another group, do you think athletes could be at risk for being swindled in their finances more than maybe another group because they're had such an opportunity to get so much money so quickly?
For those that go on to either the NBA or the NFL or Olympic training, that is true. But that's a small percentage of our student athletes. So when we say financial literacy, we mean much larger than that. I think we can make a positive contribution for those student athletes who do go out into that more professional arena and have them more wide-eyed and better prepared when they enter that arena.
How
Yes.
does the outreach component look, and how far back in the schools are you guys going? Is it only for high school coaches, or are we going to look at the students as well as they filter on to college, whether it be UT or any other school around the state?
Yeah, you want to get that?
In terms of which point we want to make the intervention, I spent time as a high school coach, a college coach, and a professional coach, so I've seen the student athlete at several different points in the pipeline. And before this point, most of the interventions have been focused on the professional athlete and the college and the collegiate student athlete. And what we want to do is to push those interventions farther down the pipeline. And in particular, to bring those coaches that are very influential in leading these young men. I think of Marcus Mariota's speech, and he talked about the influence of his high school coaches and his little league coaches. So we want to equip those coaches with the means to make positive transformations in their athletes' lives.
Is it fair to say that this is in direct response to the dismissal of some of the football players?
No, and that's something that when I sat in the meeting with Coach Strong and Commissioner Goodell, Coach Strong articulated that these core values are values that he believes should be applied to society, that we should teach this from kindergarten, and to the NFL. And so this is not a response to any sort of occurrences of player behavior, whether here or elsewhere. This is just the university saying that we have a responsibility to mold young men and women into responsible citizens, and we're going to take the lead in doing that.
What would you say to a high school coach who, they can't punish their kids, nobody can spank their kids anymore, really. There's really nothing a high school coach can do other Coaches in a tough spot too, because some high school coaches make almost six figures. Kid's really good, kid needs to play, but the kid's a huge troublemaker. What would you tell that high school?
Well, I've been a coach, so I understand that one thing you have to remember is that student athletes, first of all, want to know that a coach cares. And that's before playing time. They want to know that the coach cares about their development as a person. And so we believe that because of this time that's spent with coaches, 75% of school-age children are involved in sports in the U.S. And so because of the sheer amount of time that coaches spend with the young women and men that we're discussing, they have a key opportunity to mold them, and to mold them from a moral standpoint and on all fronts. And so, those coaches, there will always be, especially in the state of Texas, there will always be the pressures of winning. But we understand that a student who has a high level of moral character is going to put a program in position to win. And so those benefits that come along with molding student athletes into better people is something that we believe that coaches care about.
Got time for one more question?
When will you actually start this? What's our timeline?
So timeline, so June of 2015 is when the coaches certification program will start. And we're hitting the ground running now with the center as it begins. So June 2015 is when the first certification program will start for high school coaches here at the University of Texas.
Will that be like a month-long or a week-long training?
2-day, 10 hours.
What about the student athletes?
Well, in terms of the student athletes, one, the main intervention that we're making is we're saying we're going to provide a financial literacy course here at the University of Texas. I know you had a question about they already have a lot of demands on their time. This is a course that they would have filled with another course, right? So this is not something that's in addition to what they're already doing. When they schedule classes, whether it's a 12-hour or 15-hour class load, this will be one of those courses. So it will be housed here at the University of Texas.
And how will you go about getting those high school coaches to participate? Is this
We have a unique relationship given our relationship with UIL. And so that provides a great conduit for us to be able to communicate with men's and women's coaches across the state.
Well, again, thank you for being here, Darren. Thank you for all your hard work in this. And that'll end the press conference. We'll be around for questions if you've got them on a one-on-one basis. Thank you very much.